Everyone, welcome to today's program. I am Tang Jingyuan. Following Zhang Youxia's fall, turbulent undercurrents are surging within the military. The PLA Daily has once again issued harsh statements, on the surface full of murderous intent, openly condemning Zhang Guotao while highly praising Zhu, with every sentence emphasizing political loyalty and every word stressing the eradication of corruption. Yet it steadfastly refuses to name Zhang Youxia or Lu Yuan by name. Is this ultimately an attempt to kill the chicken to scare the monkey on Xi Jinping's behalf, or is it in fact a more sophisticated and higher-level form of advanced black veiled criticism? Even more peculiar, while the PLA Daily shouts at the top of its voice, the major theater commands remain collectively silent. The louder the slogans, the fewer the voices expressing support. Is this absolute obedience, or is it silent resistance? Yet the central figure in this power storm may not be limited to Zhang Youxia alone. At present, calls for Lu Yuan to take command of the military are rising from all directions. And Lu Yuan is precisely the person Xi Jinping has always feared most. This deep-seated wariness traces its roots as far back as 1988. Both are princelings, red second generation. Yet one rose through internal designation while the other emerged through popular will. This historical contrast has remained an eternal sore spot in Xi Jinping's heart. Many years later, that old wound has been torn open once again. From historical metaphors to real-world shadow warfare, from PLA Daily editorials to a princeling counterattack, from Zhang Youxia's downfall to Lu Yuan's re-emergence on the surface, a situation deeply unsettling to Xi Jinping is taking shape. Does Xi Jinping still truly hold absolute authority? One word equals 9 tripods within the military? Or has he already fallen into a quagmire of covert power struggles? The great dual drama unfolding in Zhongnanhai has now entered its most dangerous second half. Welcome to subscribe, share, and turn on the bell to follow the latest developments in the Zhang Youxia incident together. Widely regarded by the outside world as Xi Jinping's close confidant in the military and the man who actually controlled military power, Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia has fallen. Since then, the political atmosphere in Beijing has suddenly become exceptionally strange, calm on the surface, yet raging torrents beneath. On February 9th, the PLA Daily struck again, publishing a highly suggestive commentary article with an extremely blunt title, "Being Strong in Politics is the Most Fundamental Strength." At first glance, it appears to be yet another routine piece of political education, but a careful reading reveals that every line between the words glints with the light of blades. The article opens by setting the tone. The essential attribute of the armed forces is a political question. This sentence is almost directly aimed at the current situation within the military. To reinforce the argument, the PLA Daily deliberately invoked a classic case from CCP history, the story of Zhang Guotao and Zhu. The article states that during the Long March, Zhang Guotao engaged in splitting the party and the Red Army, constituting serious political betrayal, whereas Zhu held firm to his position and never went back on his word, representing true political hardness. Though it purports to discuss history, it is in reality targeting people of today. Although the entire piece avoids naming Zhang Youxia or Lu Yuan, anyone familiar with the inside story can see at a glance. This is clearly using the past to satirize the present. It should be recalled that an earlier PLA Daily editorial had already openly accused Zhang and Lu of seriously trampling on the chairman responsibility system of the Central Military Commission, effectively placing on their heads the label of serious error in political line. This time, by once again emphasizing political questions, it is obviously continuing to escalate the framing. Even more ruthless is the article's naked declaration. The stock of corruption has not yet been thoroughly eradicated. The subtext is crystal clear. The military purge is far from over. The PLA Daily's real message is already plain to see. By comparing Zhang Youxia and Lu Yuan to Zhang Guotao of that era, It implies they're dangerous figures, splitting the party and establishing a separate center. By contrasting them with Zhu De's correct choice of side, it warns current serving generals. The time has come to choose sides. Those who choose incorrectly will be treated as part of the remaining stock of corruption and swept away together. In other words, this is an undisguised political intimidation letter. But herein lies the problem. If the military were truly monolithic and ironclad, why would it be necessary to repeatedly issue editorials and commentaries? In fact, since Zhang Youxia's trouble began, although the PLA Daily has consecutively published 1 editorial and 3 commentator articles, what remains conspicuously absent is any collective statement or formation of loyalty from the major theater commands and various services in arms. This eerie silence itself speaks volumes. Military orders appear to have been issued, yet at the grassroots level they are merely idling. The surface roars deafeningly, but quiet, soft resistance continues in the shadows. Now the PLA Daily has struck once more, reiterating political hardness and eradicating the remaining stock of corruption, precisely reflecting one reality. Beijing's control over the military is not as solid as imagined. Some are watching and waiting. Some are weighing options, and some may even be quietly positioning themselves. The aftershocks of the Zhang Youxia case are far from over. The risk of further military unrest cannot yet be completely ruled out. In fact, the current authorities' criticism of Zhang Guotao is producing a clear boomerang effect. Zhang Guotao once served as vice chairman of the Central Military Commission. Since Xi Jinping came to power, the PLA Daily has repeatedly named and criticized Zhang Guotao, labeling him an ambitious schemer and conspirator, and accusing him of using troops to strengthen his own position and establishing a separate center. Over more than a decade, as the party's mouthpiece has repeatedly attacked Zhang Guotao, several of Xi Jinping's deputies, Guo Boxiong, Su Kaiyou, He Weidong, Zhang Youxia, have successively fallen. In his book My Recollections, Zhang Guotao recorded that in June 1935, the 1st and 4th Front Armies of the Chinese Communist Red Army converged at Maogong, Sichuan. On the 25th, the 2 armies held a convergence meeting north of Maogong at Lianghekou. When I first met Mao Zedong and others at Maogong, sharp differences immediately emerged on political, military, and inter-army relations. Not long after the meeting, intra-party struggle filled with scheming and intrigue followed. After the evening banquet, Zhu De accompanied Zhang Guotao back to his lodging, and the two talked all night. In the book, Zhang Guotao described the strength of the First Front Army under Mao Zedong and Zhu De. Zhu De sighed to Zhang Guotao, "Now the First Front Army can no longer fight. All the flesh has fallen away. Only a skeleton remains." My Recollections notes that 8 months earlier, the First Front Army had set out westward from Jiangxi with approximately 90,000 men. By the time it reached Maogong, only about 10,000 remained. Lin Biao's First Army Group had the largest number, about 3,500. Peng Dehuai's Third Army Group about 3,000. Dong Zhitang's Fifth Army Group fewer than 2,000. Luo Binghui's 12th Army only a few hundred. Adding the various Central Direct units, the total was roughly 10,000. All artillery had been lost. Machine guns were almost gone. Nearly all units were empty shells. Each rifle averaged about 5 rounds of ammunition. He felt these pitifully few bullets could only be used to protect the guns. He believed that without the support of Zhang Guotao's Fourth Front Army, the First Front Army would truly have reached a dead end. Commentator Jian Yi believes that by using the tactic of criticizing Zhang Guotao to target Zhang Youxia and Lu Yuan, Xi Jinping is actually being forced to acknowledge 2 extremely embarrassing realities. The first reality, the split between Xi Jinping and Zhang Youxia/Lu Yuan has long since become irreconcilable, just as Zhang Guotao looked down on Mao Zedong. These 2 military heavyweights fundamentally look down on Xi Jinping from the bottom of their hearts and have long been singing a discordant tune against him within the armed forces. The second reality is even more fatal. On the military front, Xi Jinping's actual strength may not be sufficient to overpower Zhang Youxia and Lu Yuan. This amounts to admitting that Zhang and Lu have more men and more guns, that they possess genuine power, and that their opposition to Xi Jinping within the military has long ceased to be mere contradiction. It has become naked line struggle. Looking again at the PLA Daily's maneuvers makes the situation even more intriguing. On the surface, it loudly condemns Zhang Guotao and shouts slogans at full volume. Yet stubbornly refuses to name Zhang Youxia or Lu Yuan. Where is the loyalty demonstration here? Is clearly playing word games with Xi Jinping. To put it plainly, the PLA Daily's approach is emotionally sympathetic to Zhang Youxia and Lu Yuan. At its core, it does not genuinely stand on Xi Jinping's side. And this is precisely what Xi Jinping fears most now. Because he simply cannot determine, among all those uniformed faces declaring loyalty, how many are sincere, how many are merely acting alongside him. This bottomless suspicion and insecurity is a bomb far more terrifying than any political adversary. The purge of Zhang Youxia is undoubtedly a setback for the Red Second Generation / Princeling camp's efforts to oppose Xi. However, it by no means signifies Xi Jinping's final victory. After Zhang Youxia's fall, external attention quickly shifted to another key figure, Lu Yuan, another Red Second Generation figure with deep military roots and impeccable revolutionary credentials, who has once again been thrust into the spotlight. Recently, Australia-based legal scholar Yuan Hongbing exclusively revealed a critical inside detail to the media. The real reason Zhang Youxia dared to challenge Xi Jinping was that a deeper political calculation lay behind it. The Princeling camp within the CCP is quietly launching a political counteroffensive against Xi Jinping. Among the core figures he named are heavyweight Red Second Generation leaders, such as Lu Yuan and Deng Pufang. These individuals are, through various channels, spreading word in Beijing's officialdom, openly challenging Xi Jinping's attempt to secure a third term at the 21st Congress. According to the information, Lu Yuan, Deng Pufang, and others have also prepared a major proposal whose core content is extremely clear. It demands that the CCP return to Liu Shaoqi's New Democracy theory and Deng Xiaoping's reform and opening line. At the same time, it firmly opposes the high degree of centralization Xi Jinping has pursued in recent years and opposes dragging China back toward a political-economic route resembling the Cultural Revolution. If this force truly coalesces, it would constitute a genuinely lethal challenge to Xi Jinping. So, can Lu Yuan, with his military background, shoulder such a heavy responsibility? Yuan Hongbing believes that deep in their hearts, both Lu Yuan and Deng Pufang harbor a form of contempt toward Xi Jinping. Lu Yuan, however, is somewhat different. Already during his youth, when he was sent to the countryside as an educated youth, he began studying democratic socialist thought and is a figure imbued with idealism. It is very possible that Lu Yuan, motivated by the hope of using social democracy to gradually reform the CCP's tyrannical rule, has decided to challenge Xi Jinping's regressive return to ultra-left policies. Yuan Hongbing stated that while CCP tyranny cannot possibly turn from evil to good, individuals like Lu Yuan, whose idealism and conscience have not yet been completely extinguished, still deserve respect. Commentator Kunlun believes that within the CCP political arena, Lu Yuan was long kept on ice, given experience but never real heavy responsibility, precisely because the elders feared that once given power, he would turn and bite the system itself. It is also rumored in public discourse that during the June 4th incident, Lu Yuan held a sympathetic stance toward the students. The account Asian Perspective also posted on X platform, stating that Xi Jinping's extreme wariness toward Lu Yuan actually traces back to seeds planted as early as 1988. That year, during local People's Congress elections in China, two major political shocks occurred in succession. Xi Jinping, as the sole mayoral candidate designated by the Fujian Provincial Party Committee for Xiamen, was merely supposed to go through a rubber-stamped formal vote in the Xiamen Municipal People's Congress election, yet he unexpectedly lost. The deputies simply refused to elect him. At that critical moment, Jia Qinglin, his political benefactor, threw him a lifeline, transferring Xi laterally to Ningde as prefectural party secretary. A secretary position is directly appointed by the party committee, completely avoiding the risk of a People's Congress vote. Xi Jinping was thus forced to retreat to Ningde in complete loss of face. Meanwhile, far away in Hunan, Lu Yuan, then deputy mayor of Zhang, was neither the party committee's designated candidate nor on the organization department's nomination list. Yet he emerged from the ballot box, was jointly recommended by deputies, and successfully elected vice governor. This unexpected outcome shocked the Hunan Provincial Party Committee, which urgently sought instructions from the center. Does this election result count? Zhao Ziyang replied. Respect the will of the people's deputies. Thus, Lu Yuan became the youngest vice governor in China during the 1980s. No comparison, no harm. Asian Perspective commented, both princelings, yet Lu Yuan achieved a legendary victory through popular will and universal acclaim. Xi Jinping, relying on internal party designation, left behind the humiliating record of losing an election. Perhaps Lu Yuan never took this victory or defeat to heart, but in Xi Jinping's mind, this scar has grown ever more hideous due to resentment and jealousy. The mere existence of Lu Yuan has become a psychological shadow Xi cannot shake off for the rest of his life. Today, with the princelings openly pressuring at the gate, Xi Jinping finds himself in an impossible position, unable to advance or retreat. Yuan Hongbing believes Xi Jinping is actually in an extremely awkward state of being caught between advancing and retreating with great difficulty. He pointed out that Xi Jinping is fully aware of the moves being made by Lu Yuan, Deng Pufang, and this group of Red Second Generation. On the contrary, he possesses an entire, tightly knit system of secret police surveillance. He knows every detail of the princeling's covert networking and preparations to challenge his dictatorial authority. The problem is, knowing is one thing, but Xi Jinping has so far hesitated to make the final decision. Why? Because the targets are too sensitive. Behind Lu Yuan and Deng Pufang stand the Lu Shaoqi family and the Deng Xiaoping family, two of the most powerful political clans in CCP history. To move against these two families, both branded #1 capitalist roaders during the Cultural Revolution, will be tantamount to declaring war on the entire red aristocratic stratum. This is a step Xi Jinping still dares not take at present. Thus, the current situation has become, he dares not strike, yet he cannot sit still. The princelings sharpen their blades in the shadows. Xi Jinping is caught in a dilemma in the open. On one side is the terror of losing control of power. On the other is the fear of party splitting. Political struggle never disappears simply because it is delayed. Today's deadlock of advance and retreat may very well be the prelude to an even greater storm tomorrow. Welcome to share your views in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us for more in-depth analysis. See you in the next episode.